Here with my regular evening update of my writing challenge. I am just finished up the 9th day of the challenge, and as you can see from the sprints, things are rolling right along as usual. Had some time this evening to sit down, knock out my 3 sprints. You can see the word counts pretty much as usual, right on track. A little bit better than yesterday because I knew a little bit more about the scenes that I was working on. Another 4,100, almost 4,200 words, 36 and change, so we're well over a third of the way through the book, and I'm really excited about that because I have a very clear path in my head, and I'm actually starting to write it down. I'll show you that in just a moment. But you can see 9 days, just a huge amount of progress here, which is great. I put 13 hours into total typing, 27 and change, averaging 2,700 an hour, 4,000 a day, about 54,000 words to go as an estimate. Figuring it'll take a little under 2 weeks to do that, and about 19 and a half hours of real writing time, not counting outlining and thinking and plotting and planning and all that good stuff that goes into putting a book together. So that's the essentials. Real quick, I just wanted to show you I'm doing some work on that outline, and I'm not going to go into much detail tonight because I'm a little tired. It's 10 after 11, and it's been a beautiful day here in Alexandria. It was actually up in the 80s, which was unexpected but quite welcome. Even though that for me it's just a little warm, but you know, who's complaining after the cold snaps that we've had? So just real quick, I'm going to show you the outline. So as you remember, in my outline template, let's see if we can pull this up here. The outline template is, we'll go to the corkboard mode. This is the pieces of an outline that Libby Hawker talks about at length in her book, that I've talked about pretty much in every video here, but these are the basic elements that are in her outline sequence that won't necessarily change from book to book, but this was the kind of the ground level foundation that I started to build the book off of. And you know, if I were to look at this, I would say, you know, a lot of these have changed places, and I'm using this as inspiration for the most part, reminding me, oh yeah, I need to do this at some point. Oh yeah, I need to do this at some point. And I'm folding these into my outline, but I'm not really sticking to these in any stringent fashion. I just know that these pieces need to be in the book somewhere in a logical order, not necessarily in the order that they're displayed here. So what I'm doing now, and I alluded to this, I think, in yesterday's video, and I'll talk about it more hopefully this weekend, but we'll see how it goes. I've got some stuff coming up this weekend that may keep me away from the computer for an extended period of time. But anyway, if you look at book 1, here's the outline. So the first 19 chapters or so I've written, and I haven't had a chance to sit down and read them and write out what happened in each chapter. Kind of building the revised outline as I go. You know, here's what happened in chapter 1, here's what happened in chapter 2, etc., etc. I just haven't quite gotten there yet. I have color-coded all of my cards to show me who the point of view character is for each chapter and scene. And if you look at the outline mode, you can see I've also added statuses where I know that each of these chapters is either a complete draft, meaning I've gone through, I've fixed any typos, and I consider it a pretty clean, you know, piece of writing, as opposed to something that's in progress that I know I either stopped near the end and just didn't go back to it, or has some holes that I know need to be filled, or just something about it needs to be tidied up. So you can see I've got probably a little bit more than half and half in terms of complete and progress. And the ones that are in progress, one day I may just sit down and just kind of like plow through them and make a running note of how many new words I'm adding, just to see how I fill out my sprints. But for now, you know, forward progress, I'm not letting the little holes and gaps, you know, slow me down. I'm just making a note of it within the manuscript and then just charging forward to keep the momentum going, because I don't want to get bogged down in minutia as I continue to write. So so we'll go back to the corkboard mode. So eventually, hopefully by this weekend, I'll have all these scene cards filled in with a really brief, like not even a paragraph, maybe just a couple sentences, summary of what happened in each of those chapters. And you can even see the 2 chapters I wrote today were chapter 20 and 21. And I don't know that any of this is going to make sense to you unless you've really been reading closely. But so chapter 20, stuff happened. This is what happened. Rachel went to the hospice by herself. She checks in with her grandpa and then goes to check out the stairway where something mysterious happened earlier on in the book. And that was on Saturday, just as a reminder to me. She started the book on Wednesday. We're up to Saturday. And then while she's in the stairway, weird stuff happens, and then she runs. So those are the 2 chapters I wrote today, and I labeled both of those as complete because I consider them both pretty complete. Although yeah, they're both pretty complete. They're both. You can see that they're both longer than most of the chapters I've done, and they'll both need a little bit of trimming for editorial purposes. But I think I was really getting into the moment of some of the stuff and some of the magic that was starting to happen. Since this is a urban fantasy, I'm starting to get that magic into play here. So started having some fun with some descriptions. So it'll get trimmed a little bit. But anyway, so as part of the outlining that I've been doing on my voice recorder, and also just thinking about it, and also just starting to work out, like I said yesterday, since I know what the endings are for all these main characters, even though I know these last 3 chapters have to change a little bit to reflect the rest of the book that I haven't finished writing yet, I know what the endings are, so I can see the long distance goalpost of where I'm going. And what I'm doing now is I know where I am and I know where I want to be, and now I'm starting to fill in the gaps of what has to happen to get from point where I am to point where I want to be, and how the book ends. So this is where I'm starting to fill in different scenes that I know need to happen to fill in those blanks. In order for the big battle to happen, Rachel needs to get trained, Malcolm needs to get some of his powers. I have not put in Malcolm's cards yet here, but that'll come, because you can see this is 25, 30, 35, this is 36 chapters out of an estimated number of 60, so I've still got 20 to 24 of these note cards that I need to add in here that will continue the different subplots and supporting characters and all that good stuff. So this is going to continue to be filled out quite a bit, but because I was thinking about Rachel, the main character, so much, I really knocked out a whole bunch of her scenes, these the orange ones. I just knocked out a bunch of those because I knew that they had to fit in here, right? She's going to encounter another character. She's going to go visit her friend at the store to discuss what's going on. She's going to go meet the mysterious Miss Chin to start her quote-unquote training. And initially I thought this would be 2 different cards, but I think they're going to start training at an interesting location, because this series is set in the DC metro area, which is where I happen to live. And just over the course of living here, I have come across all kinds of interesting locations that I thought would be really cool to add in the book. And so we're going to start folding those in, much as Anne Rice uses New Orleans, and other writers have taken certain locations and kind of made them their own. Like Jim Butcher puts Dresden in Chicago, and so you learn a little bit about Chicago. And other series are set in particular locales. So this one is going to be the DC metro area. So that's where this scene is an opportunity to kind of show off some of the setting and show some of that local detail that I can get in there with some really good color and stuff. And then there'll be some more scenes between here, and then Rachel will learn some stuff that'll keep the plot moving forward. Rachel and Malcolm get together to go figure out how to fight the bad guys. Some more scenes will fit in here, and then we'll get to the big battle. There'll be the denouement, some little wrap-up stuff, and then the last chapter for Malcolm, the last chapter for Rachel, and the last scene, which will be a little gotcha scene, just to kind of tweak readers and hopefully entice them to read on into book 2, which we haven't really gotten to yet, but I'm thinking about it. And in fact, if you look at book 2, I've got a little document here called Book 2 Notes, and the natural result of writing a book like this and starting to develop long-term subplots with all these characters, there's going to be, because this is a series, I'm going to be flowing those subplots. Some of them don't get resolved in this book. The main plot does get resolved, but all the little fun subplots that carry through from chapter to not chapter to chapter, but from book to book, that readers love to follow and find out what's going to happen next. What's going to happen with Buffy and Spike, or Xander and Willow. what those little storylines just continue on and on from book to book to book until some of them get resolved and new ones start up, and old ones get resolved and new ones start up, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so my to-do list has gotten bigger because I've still got to fill out these scene cards, which won't be too hard. It'll just be a matter of reading what I've got so far, and then continuing to add more cards as I'm going. And like I said, these cards are going to be influenced by and large by the outline template that I picked up from Libby and Take Off Your Pants and Story, and just a lifetime of ingesting story via comic books, novels, short stories, movies, television, whatever. However you absorb story, you learn how to tell a story without or you understand what a story is without necessarily learning how to write one, right? These beats should not be surprises to anybody, really. I mean, they're there. If you really grab a book and analyze it, you'll find a lot of this stuff in there. So, anyway, all that being said, today, another great day. Really happy with the progress. I'm back to 4,000 words a day average, which was good after yesterday's kind of sluggish day. But yeah, that's it for me, and I hope you had a great, what's today? Wednesday. I hope you had a great Wednesday, and I hope you have a great rest of the week, and happy writing.